The Adventures of Pluto Nash. Production budget, $100 million, loss, $96 million. Eddie Murphy was once synonymous with success. The 80s gave us Beverly Hills Cop and Trading Places, the 90s, the Nutty Professor and Dr. Dolittle, and even in the OOS he had Shrek. But 2002's The Adventures of Pluto Nash kickstarted a real dive into live-action family clunkers. See also, Norbit and Meet Dave, or rather don't. It was simply a terrible movie. The sci-fi comedy, and we use the term loosely, didn't receive one breath of praise, with everyone lambasting the script, humor, acting and visual effects. Its 5% rating on Rotten Tomatoes says it all. Which begs the question, just how did this movie cost so much to make? $47 Ronin. Production budget, $175 million, loss, $98 million. Giving a gargantuan budget to a first-time feature film director is a risky move. But that's precisely what happened here when Universal Studios endowed Carl Rintz with an eye-watering multi-million-dollar check. Rintz had worked in commercials and state-of-the-art interactive technologies, according to his website, when he was given a 2013 flick. Tellingly, he was removed from the project during the editing process and more footage featuring its star Keanu Reeves was shot. But this couldn't save the samurai fantasy adventure that had critics and audiences alike seeking seppuku. The Lone Ranger. Production budget, $225 million, loss, $98 million. The 2013 Western from Disney reunited the dream team of Gore Verbinski, Jerry Bruckheimer and Johnny Depp after numerous, highly profitable Pirates of the Caribbean installments. This should be box office gold, right? Not quite. The production ran into trouble, costs escalated and the whole thing was nearly shut down before it was completed. When it finally hit cinema screens, The Lone Ranger was slammed by critics and shunned by audiences. The film wasn't a total washout though. It received 2 Oscar nominations, for visual effects and makeup and hairstyling. Four monster trucks. Production budget, $125 million, loss, $115 million. Kids are problematic for the film industry. The majority of this list is made up with failed children's movies and this one, based purely on a pun, is typical of its genre. 2016's Monster Trucks was to launch a new franchise from Paramount but, after the opening barely scraped over $10 million at the box office, the flimsy premise crashed. John Carter. Production budget, $263 million, loss, $122 million. There are only 4 films to top this slice of Disney sci-fi from 2012 in terms of costs: 2 installments of Pirates of the Caribbean, Avengers, Age of Ultron and the recent Justice League. John Carter's pedigree, solid cast, though its lead, Taylor Kitsch, was perhaps out of his depth. Oscar-winning Andrew Stanton, Wall-E, Finding Nemo, on directing duties and celebrated source material, from Edgar Rice Burroughs, didn't save it from a critical pasting and poor audience turnout. The Mars-based franchise failed to happen for Disney, who then decided to look elsewhere for their science fiction fix. By the end of the year, they owned Star Wars. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword. Production budget, $175 million, loss, $150 million. Probably best known for featuring a woeful appearance from former footballer David Beckham, Guy Ritchie's Turkey came with a surprisingly high budget. Warner Brothers were keen to kickstart a new franchise based on the Arthurian legend with actor Charlie Hunnam fronting, but this was not to be their sword in the stone. King Arthur, Legend of the Sword opened in the US to just $15 million and received a clunking 28% on Rotten Tomatoes. Maybe they should get Beckham to bend those figures. Mars Needs Moms. Production budget, $150 million, loss, $100 million. Disney should have known better than to return to Mars and computer-generated imagery, but this is exactly what they did. A year before the disastrous John Carter, more of which later, the House of Mouse adapted the Berkeley-breathed picture book of the same name with a mother of all production budgets, well, certainly very pricey anyway. The reviews weren't great, though not Emoji Movie terrible, and its opening weekend ranks as one of the worst for a movie rolling out nationwide. It's one of the worst.